Imagine a war machine that isn't the best in every technical detail, but by virtue of its simplicity, low cost, and mass production changes the rules of the game. The first example is the T-34. In the 1940s, that tank wasn't an engineering marvel in every respect. It had welding quality issues, relatively basic optics at first, and operational quirks, but it had a decisive formula: a simple, robust hull with sloped armor, good mobility, and what proved crucial, the ability to produce large numbers quickly. Mass production of the T-34, the low unit cost, and the ability to repair and keep these vehicles in the field turned out to be a strategic advantage for the Soviet Union in a long war, because in battle, industrial endurance can matter more than individual technical superiority. Now let's move that idea into our time. In 2022 to 2025, the world saw a new kind of mass weapon: cheap, one-way strike drones, often called Shahed or Garand 2. These are not high-precision, high-sophistication systems. They are relatively simple platforms: a small engine, fuel tank, GNSS/INS guidance, and a warhead. Their comparatively low cost and ability to be employed in large numbers make them play a similar role to the T-34. They do not have to be perfect to cause significant damage when launched in hundreds or thousands. But there are important differences, and those differences tell us whether cheap equals effective. In reality, analysts show that many of these drones are intercepted, and when judging cost effectiveness, one must count the cost of defense and the losses of targets. Many Shahed-type drones are shot down before they reach key objectives. Yet even if only a fraction gets through, mass waves can wear down air defense systems, create chaos, damage logistics and infrastructure, and exert psychological pressure on civilians and leadership. In short, like the T-34, cheap platforms work not because of technical brilliance, but because of quantity and the pressure they impose on the opponent. What else links these two phenomena? First, the economics of war. If the defender must spend expensive missiles and munitions to shoot down cheap drones or numerous tanks, the economic edge shifts to the mass producer. Second, tactical innovation. The T-34 changed ground warfare tactics because it enabled broad-massed armored offensives. Modern Shaheds force changes in air defense tactics, infrastructure protection, fuel and reserve allocation. Third, the moral and political effect. Large, even if not ultra-precise, attacks undermine civilians' sense of security and influence political decision-making, what is called war fatigue or resource exhaustion. However, it is important not to romanticize cheapness. The T-34 paid a price in its flaws: high losses, logistical headaches, and sometimes low reliability in specific batches. Shaheds likewise do not guarantee decisive victory. Many are destroyed, and sustained mass launches require supply chains, skillful integration and modernization, and, in the modern world, international supplies and responses to sanctions. So, cheapness is a tool, not an automatic victory. What should the viewer take away? First, understand that in modern war, influence is determined not only by star technologies, but also by how many units you can put into the field and how effectively you integrate them into tactics. Second, watch how defenses adapt. If defenders can cheaply and effectively neutralize massed waves, the attacker's advantage disappears. Third, the political dimension. A state that can quickly organize serial production of inexpensive strike means gains a strategic edge in a grinding conflict, but that also intensifies an arms race and escalation risks. To close, a short, clear metaphor. The T-34 didn't win by being a single perfect machine. It won because it became the cornerstone of mass and resilience. Today, Shaheds play a similar role. Not the perfect weapon, but a weapon that at scale and with proper employment can tip the balance if the opponent cannot find cheap and effective countermeasures. This reminds us of an old bitter rule. In war, the victor is often not the smartest or most expensive product, but the one that best combines technology with industrial economics.